Okay, should be live now and actually with an appropriate title to this video. I did kind of cancel the other stream I was doing a few seconds ago because it was incorrect and perfect. Audio is working and we are streaming about the correct topic. So, hello everyone, Chloe Lewis here, and co-founder of the Marma J Foundation. That's the website I'm on now, marmaj.org. And as the co-founder, I generally do a lot of research in the Web3 space, trying to figure out how to leverage Web3 tech for social good. And that's kind of led the Marma J Foundation to spin up a Marma J DAO. Now there are multiple sub-DAOs underneath the Marma J DAO, and one of those is the Marma J Gaming DAO. So, tagline here is we really want people to earn, right? People are always kind of earn something, but in order to play with the Marma J Gaming DAO. Our goal is to educate and onboard gamers and game developers into the Web3 sphere by providing the tools and resources to gain life skills through play. So simply by coming in and interacting with these games and these tools, we hope that people are actually able to earn and therefore continue playing, right? Not just these games, but with the entire Web3 ecosystem. So what is earn to play really, and how does it come down to be like, an interactive process? So, people can explore the crypto-based gaming world of pixel dApps where, they can collaborate artistically with friends, which is kind of like Pixel Party, gather, pets for a battle, which is like Pixel Pets here, outfit your hero to explore dungeons and take part in raids in Crypto Heroes, and gather an army to position yourself as the master tactician in Chain Team Tactics. Now, whoever would like to learn more about each of these games, you can kind of hit the little play button and it'll kind of open up the game right here for you. And so, I'll do a quick overview of each of these games quickly, just to give, I'll probably have to zoom out on this one a little bit, and it does seem like it's taking a little time to load. But here is the board for Pixel Party. Now, I've done a video about the game mechanics of this already, but already there's a pretty cool way for community to be, built simply by interacting with the Near ecosystem in a visual way. So, for example, Profit.Near is able to build community by saying, hey, telegram me for suggestions. But if we built this into a platform that was integrating with the Myriad Social or Social 08, the different social platforms already on Near, then people would be able to be in this user interface, connecting, being able to DM wallets and maybe even saying, hey, I'll tip you a few Marma J if you build this. Maybe the person can, I have to pay some Near to communicate with this person, and maybe if they complete the bounty successfully, I can give them some Marma J tokens. And maybe the Marma J Gaming DAO could hold the tokens in escrow to actually make sure it gets done. Who knows what kind of cool things can be built? But in order to build these things, we need, support. We need to make these games make sense and connect with one another. Then we have Pixel Pets. So Pixel Party used to give, when Pixel Pets first launched, all frame owners here were airdropped some pets for Pixel Pets. So that's one of the ways to add incentives to this game here, is to actually airdrop people game tokens. So basically, if my account is Chloe.Near, I could get airdropped some game tokens, example, and that could be used for a game like Pixel Pets, where you can go hatch those eggs. This one is going to make me log in first, so I'm actually going to completely skip over showing any of the gameplay. I've done it in the past. But you can come in here, you can hatch one of these pets that you see here. You can use these 3 pets to battle another 3 individuals, and then at the end of the week, whoever has the highest ranking can earn some pixel tokens. Now, this game is actually quite well developed and thought out and quite thorough. In my opinion, though, it just needs more continuation with like the evolutions and have like a full Pokedex, for example, like a full monster dex for all these pets. This is also a really great way for community members in the Marma J community to get involved by, maybe voting on which evolution should get added next, which pet should be nerfed a little bit, or, what type of feature should be added next. There's a little bit of algorithm changes needed for like the merging of pets, but overall, pretty solid game. It just kind of needs a little bit of logic fixes to make it more efficient. Then we have Crypto Heroes, probably the kind of the most community-centric game so far in the Pixeldax ecosystem. I think this one will also make me log in to play, so please feel free to check out a previous video on, like, there's many videos of like gameplay videos on the Marma J YouTube and stuff like that. But in this game, you unlock one of your 3 heroes. You take that hero, you participate in dungeons to try and get loot. You participate in raids to try and earn pixel tokens. In my opinion, there's some, like, just, algorithm logic fixes to make the game more efficient. Overall, though, it's just really too difficult to progress in the game. And so I think one of the coolest ways to add, simplicity for progression might be to allow, the addition of bringing a pet, for example, into the dungeons with you. The pets already have attack levels and HP and all of that. So potentially just adding the ability to bring another secondary, character into the dungeons with you might be cool. That code already exists arguably for raids. And so you can have, create a mini raid with you and your pet or pets to take on a dungeon and make it a bit easier for yourself. Also, like the forge mechanics for getting new gear is a bit kind of, difficult to progress through. But again, I think adding NFT rewards to the raids would benefit a lot of people because they have a lot more tokens to NFTs to try and merge, or visual-based tokens to try and merge. All of the game items in Pixel Party, Pixel Pets, Crypto Heroes, and Chain Team Tactics so far are not actual NFTs adhering to NEP 171 on the Near blockchain. So they're not NEP standard NFTs, but that is one of the main goals for Chain Team Tactics here. So I don't think I'll be able to kind of jump in and play right away without enough tokens. So again, all of this is kind of an issue for me. The fact that you have to authorize your Near account and the fact that you have to log in this way, there should be a wallet selector. You'd be able to select the wallet you want to log in with, and it should automatically do it. But without having that on us at the moment, and I've already kind of dug into changing tactics already, but again, you collect a minimum of 6 units. It'd be great if these units started as Pixel Dapps owned items at the beginning, and maybe if you paid some amount of pixel tokens, you could actually own the NFTs or mint them on Mintbase, for example. And this is where we hope to kind of start connecting Mintbase NFTs in, start having a code rewrite to JavaScript, and actually integrate some Mintbase gaming here. So again, if people want to know what's going on, the Marma J Gaming DAO plans to use PXT for its governance. So the Marma J Gaming DAO plans to, it is a DAO in Astro, which you can see from the left over here. And it is a DAO that plans to adopt the PXT token for governance once it is viable to do so. So once the Astro mainnet platform allows us to adopt the PXT token, we will allow anyone who's holding PXT the ability to have added governance on the DAO, maybe not full governance right away. But the idea is that by, allowing PXT holders to start making, small decisions at first and then completely making decisions about smart contract upgrades, about which games should get which resources for upcoming features, that should all be available to PXT holders. And so when the Marma J Gaming DAO does take over the ecosystem in early November, one of the first steps is that the PXT tokens will also be the current PXT tokens held in the PXT bank, which is held by the current Pixel Dapps team, will be sent over to the Marma J Gaming DAO on Astro, which will be used to continue to fund development of the games as much as possible, as long as whatever other funding hopefully can be found to continue developing these games. So the first step, what is the roadmap? What are we doing? We're not just sitting on our butts doing nothing. We are already started getting the DevOps set up, so making sure we have a good, an efficient testing environment on testnet, not only for the games, but also for the DAO, to ensure we can do some DAO-based upgrades. So Calicantra DAO specifically will be supporting the Marma J Gaming DAO, developer operations for the migration of the games. And so the games are currently being run, as you can see from Pixel Party mostly, the games are already being hosted on a back end and a front end by a different team. the Marma J Gaming DAO has to actually take over running the MongoDB servers or the AWS servers, the Vercel, spin ups, and whatever else, DigitalOcean, whatever else is needed in that end. That's the first step, which is happening at the moment. The second step is what happens early November. Is this transfer of ownership, and so that terminology is hopefully adhered to specifically, because what we're really doing is we're saying that the power to upgrade these games, Chain Team Tactics, Pixel Pets, Pixel Party, Crypto Heroes, the idea is that the Marma J Gaming DAO will have the ability to upgrade these contracts. And so as token holders are voting on the Marma J Gaming DAO, that's where the actual ownership rights are going to be laid, with the PXT token is the goal. Step 3, game improvements. So phase 3 will bring a multitude of updates happening in tandem, included, as I talked about in Chain Team Tactics, hopefully mint-based gaming, mobile support, leaning heavily on the support from Reality Chain, and, improved game logic. So I talked about many areas where the incentives and the game logic didn't really align for progressing through the games, and there was not much connectivity between the games as well. So really hoping to fix that progressively over the next few months as well. And then stage 4 is once we start looking at code rewrites into JavaScript and cross-contact calls into Rust, once we start making sure that the games can be accessible on mobile and there's an efficient way to log in with a multi-selector, and once we make sure that the incentives and the reason to play is efficient. I mean, again, we want people playing because the games are fun, not because they're earning some economic incentive. So it's not just the incentives in terms of how much PXT or Marma J are you earning. It's more about how are you building community, and how are you progressing through the story of the game. And then stage 4 would be, working with Octopus Network to get an app chain for the Pixel dApps ecosystem. PXT would hopefully be used as the gas token. These 4 games would just be the start here. We're already looking at getting Pixel Battle set up as open source code as well. So all of these code repos will be open sourced probably in the beginning of November, and we'll be publicly opening on all of these games. But there's also going to be, Pixel Battle. There's also a team coming on board building a 6th anime-style pixel-based game. And so the best example I have, I guess, is Axie Infinity building the Ronin sidechain, and then having not only Axie Infinity, but the land game that they have, and then also having Katana, their decks, and of course they're probably gonna have lending and borrowing and land staking and all these NFT staking and all of that. So the PXT app chain just allows us to use the PXT token as gas to onboard more efficiently, right? So that when people first get started, they don't need a near wallet. They don't need to worry about any kind of wallet. They can just play the games with microtransactions supported by the Marma J Gaming DAO or the Marma J Gaming DAO organization there, or a smart contract. And over time, as they play more or as they engage more, they can actually take ownership of that contract. And again, the Marma J Gaming DAO can handle the payment there, or the user could actually be okay, I actually care about this game enough to pay, a few 30 cents or whatever needed to actually take ownership of this account. But the idea is that should never be needed. So we have PXT kind of supporting in that area, faster block times to make everything built on chain, for example. And I think there'd be an interesting medium-term, long-term goal, because we have to start thinking about, okay, how do we integrate a game built on mint-based to then have its logic on other chains? Because eventually, we want this ecosystem to be multi-chain, because we're not really trying to create anything for ourselves here. We're trying to open source all of this, make it open for game developers and game players globally. So anyone who's hey, I want to learn more about getting involved in blockchain gaming from any aspect, they will have this open source repo community ecosystem to get engaged with, and hopefully learn about how to use a DAO on Near for governance to do so. And hopefully this roadmap will really kind of over the next few months, 6 months and beyond, I guess, with the app chain, will truly allow the Marma J Gaming DAO to be a community-run governance organism to manage the Pixel dApps ecosystem. So hopefully that's a pretty efficient overview for anyone that's curious, what's happening, what's going on. There is like a link here where you can visit the DAO and see the Marma J Gaming DAO on Astro. If you want to like see this aspect of it, you can like follow along with updates and see what the DAO looks like. Currently, if you're looking at funds, there's not much funds in the DAO. It's just the 6 near that it was used to start the DAO. Again, early November, 7.7 million pixel tokens will be, hopefully sent to this DAO to get started with taking over ownership of the contracts. We're also looking at grant funding from the Near Foundation so we can continue integrating with other platforms, fixing out the logical issues and algorithm issues we talked about previously, looking at grant funding from Mintbase to specifically build out Mintbase gaming through Chain Team Tactics, and looking at like code rewrites into JavaScript and cross-contract calls there. Also, we're looking for new members. So currently the Marma J Research DAO, actually the Marma J Research Multi-Call, which is good, and the Calicandra DAO are on the council. Currently, the Chloe.near account is on the council just to kind of get things set up. The goal is that by the time the early November comes and the tokens get sent over, like more funds are sent to the DAO. First of all, we want more members on the DAO. So we have other developers that have quite a large stake in what happens, and they're kind of supporting quite a bit with what happens moving forward. We want them on the DAO, so at least one more developer coming on board. And then removing Chloe.near, of course, so that it would be 3 parties, and the voting threshold would be 50%. So as long as 2 people out of the current council voted, something would pass. We would have that going for quite a while, probably a few months, until we implemented the PXT token holder group, which is where we hope to slowly add more rights into that group, and then eventually the entire, like the PXT token holder group will have full rights over the DAO, able to make contract upgrades and whatever else that they would like to do. And then I would feel like, okay, we've fully given over this project, like everything we're talking about here, everything under the Marma J Gaming, all these games plus more, all the roadmap. That's when I feel like the roadmap will be fully completed, when the Marma J Gaming DAO fully has a token holders group, is in charge of all of the game contracts and upgrading them. And then we start looking at, what does cross-chain integrations look like for on-chain gaming, and how do we kind of, have more, how does the ecosystem have more control over itself? But yeah, hopefully that's a good overview. I'm probably going to do at least potentially one more video. I think it'll be interesting eventually to talk about all the projects we're partnered with Marma J Gaming, but I'll probably do that like in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, hope that was clear, and hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Really excited to see what Marma J Gaming will be able to bring to the Near ecosystem as we take over ownership of the Pixel Dapps ecosystem over the next few weeks.